When you're so infatuated with someone, you do anything for them. But would you help them commit a crime? We find out when we discuss the movie Eileen.
I'm Jordan.
I'm Jared.
And I'm Matt. Grab your cigarettes, martini, and whiskey. Enjoy the 143rd episode of your award winning podcast. We used to talk about this at work. Now, Chad is not on this show because Chad is off doing Chad things. Much deserved rest. He's been cranking out a lot of bonus content for you guys, but knowing Chad is out there filming some bonus content. But this week, I got friend of the show, Jared, and once upon a time,
Yes.
Jordan. Welcome, both of you.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate it. Now, Jordan, what do you want to talk about this week?
I was kind of racking my brain to bring some content to the podcast. And the best thing I could think of is how ridiculous the US presidential election is normally and how it will be this year also. I just kind of wanted to poke fun at it a little bit, I guess, or get you guys' thoughts on how you take in the political circus that is the US presidential election every 4 years. What do you guys think about it? How do you follow news? Do you follow news? Are you worried? Are you excited? Do you vote? That kind of stuff.
I get it. A lot of people are, super heavily invested into the election cycle, for the presidency. But me personally, I don't really care anymore, just because I feel like it's all pre-selected anyway from just because like only a certain person is going to be put on the final ballot to represent one of the two sides. So at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, I guess you're sort of picking based on who you vote for, but are you really, if you're only getting the chance to really vote for one or two people? So for me, it's just sort of, yeah, I don't really think too much of it at this point.
Yeah. There are hundreds and hundreds of presidential candidates for each election.
Yeah.
Like literally hundreds of candidates. And what you only see in the mainstream news media are the top, 6 or 8, and then they dwindle that down to, 2 or sometimes 3 with the independent party, the third party that makes it in there. But it's just amazing to me how they frame everything as this democratic process and that everybody has the opportunity to become president. You hear that when you're younger in grade school, you can be president if you want. With what money? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like how much money does it cost to run a campaign for presidency? It's either you paying for it as a billionaire, Bruce Wayne type character, or
you have the
you
backing
have
of all
of
these.
you got these institutions
Right.
that are backing you, these deep dyed in the wool institutes that will definitely have a quid pro quo kind of situation with you, because anytime you scratch somebody's back so that they you have to turn around and scratch theirs or vice versa, you know what I mean? So it's like it's never really true that anybody can be president, I don't think. And then it just goes to show you that if there's hundreds of people that are running for president every 4 years, how do we only know the same 4 or 5 or 6 names, and why?
Right.
And also, real quick, another thing is like, so you may have a person who, I personally think all politicians are scumbags, but that's not because of the individual person, but just because like that's sort of the nature of it. So if you do have a person who is like a legitimately good person and they want to run for president, you only gonna make it far one of two ways. You can either get a lot of donors, and then that comes with, oh, I gave you X amount of dollars, so I need you to put this policy in place or whatever. So even if you do have like a genuinely good person, at some point you're gonna have to make a decision like, I'm gonna either drop out because I need the money to keep going, or I could take this money, the donations or whatever, but that takes away the genuinely good person part of it, so it's like kind of a lose-lose, so
Right.
that genuinely good candidate who's not a scumbag politician probably is going to become a scumbag politician just by the very nature of how our politics work here. So,
Yeah.
but yeah.
And from me, because I'm living in Japan, seeing this stuff on like social media and stuff, it's like it's a clown show on both sides of it. And that's
Yeah.
even in Japan when I see their news and what their politicians are doing and stuff. It's like it's a clown show where things have gotten so uh separated to where um like they separate the news because of it now. Now, if you on one side, you watching CNN. If you on one side, you're watching Fox, and everything is tailored to whatever side is side. So it's like that's how much separated. Usually before, back in the day, the stuff was mixed in together a little bit. So it just got
Yeah.
so divided to where if you stand on this side, then everything this side you have to believe in. And I don't believe anybody's like that. You're not gonna all the ticks of the left, all the ticks of the right. You could take bits and pieces from each side or whatever like that. It's just, but the times we living in is just you're either all or nothing now.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Polarizing.
And yeah, and it's like that. It's purposely done like that to make sure that you stay on one side or the other side. And it's to the point where like not even just with politics, but other issues too. But it's like it used to be that like, okay, you think this way and somebody else thinks this way. But if you talk and you say, you know what, I just disagree with you. Let's go get lunch. Let's not talk about it. Whatever. But now the way they do it is like if you disagree with the other person, it's like that makes you a bad person now.
Right. Right.
And it's like polarized to the point where it's like it's not even a matter of, oh, that's just his opinion or that's just her opinion. It's no, that person is terrible. We can't be friends. You're
There
not
is
my
no
brother
common
anymore.
ground.
I want to leave the family. Right, exactly. It's no
Yeah.
middle ground. It's like you gotta be all the way to one side or all the way to the other side, or you're a terrible person if you disagree with
Right. Because
with the other side. So
it's got so separated to where, for example, if I was like, oh yeah, I'm for the Second Amendment. I have guns and everything else like that. Even though that's all I said, but now that's going to be categorized in every other talking point this
yeah,
side has. Or if I was like, oh yeah, I'm for abortion, then I fall under all this category. So it's not
yeah,
just whatever I said. It's now I'm grouped in all the other sides. So now it's and that's where like there's no common ground. We're not speaking to each other. We're speaking at each other, and that's where like whenever they hold these Senate briefs and stuff on TV, you never hear them talking like a regular conversation, like a business meeting. Hey, let's do this. Let's negotiate. It's always rah 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 rah, and you can't get things done in the business. But now we expect them to get this done in the government.
Right.
right.
So it's a
So
lose lose. It's a lose lose situation for everybody.
will you guys vote in the
Yeah, I
US
vote.
presidential election?
I voted. Did I vote? Yeah, I voted in the last election. Yeah, so I'll probably vote this time too.
Okay.
You?
Yeah, I don't think I will. I just I mean, I would ask you why do you vote if you don't think it matters? Or if you don't think
Well, I don't say I think
it
it matters. I
really
think that it's
well,
it's
Jared
it,
said that.
well, it's just not a farce. It's kids. It's like kids fighting in the playground or whatever like that. But I mean, it's all about representation. It's because this person is the face of the U.S. and this person is the one that's out talking. This person is out the one that's talking to these other countries and everything else like that. Uh, so you would
Hmm.
hope, you would like that the person you voted for will be that person to do that. But like a lot of these laws and stuff that like generally affects people are affected by the local elections and things of that nature.
Right.
Like that,
Hmm.
those are the ones that people should be going out and voting for. I know the big thing is everybody go out for the president, but these local elections and stuff like that that's the ones that people should like um the abortion stuff, the banning of the books, the healthcare things, all of this stuff like that. Either you're for it or against it, but those are the people who are making those decisions. It's not the president of the United States doing this stuff.
Right, right. Yeah, no, I agree. And I do think that the local stuff is more important than the national scale stuff. I just think for me personally, like the president, you don't, there's never really anybody who's running for president that I would want to vote for generally. The mainstream candidates are almost always in the pocket of some other special interest group, some special interest group, and they're gonna continue on with general policies of the Republican or the Democratic, spheres of the government. But I don't know. I think it does get kind of fun when you can see the debates, the debate cycle, the news cycle running up to the election. It just gets really interesting and chaotic, and I do kind of find some entertainment in that.
Right, and that's basically that's what it's boiled down to now. It's boiled down to entertainment value, to where uh it's the clips, somebody says something silly, somebody does something stupid, or say somebody gets aggressive, whatever, and that's the clip that's gonna ride.
Yeah, yeah. So it'll be interesting. I'm sure. Do you have any predictions for right now? I mean, you got Biden as the incumbent, and then Trump trying to make another push to be reelected.
I have no idea, because I know like there's other people like right now wasn't like a couple of, I don't know who they had the Republican one, and Kathy Kelly something or something was saying something. So I don't know who's all on the. I have no idea.
Well, the Republican side, you got like Trump. He's. I don't even think he's going to debate anybody. He's just. This is how bold. This is how bold Trump is. Trump is saying, I don't need to even be on the debates with these Republicans. Everybody knows me. I had a huge support, a huge swath of support when he ran in 2020, and then a very strong support after he left the presidency. So he's not even going to waste his time being on debate stages. He's just, I mean, he literally doesn't even have to campaign, really. I mean, he's giving speeches and stuff here and there sporadically, but that's actually a pretty bold and boss move to me. But there's
Right,
like
and it's true. It's true because
yeah, I mean,
It's definitely
his
true.
his fanfare has never wavered. Honestly, it's probably gotten stronger since he left office.
I think it's gotten stronger.
Right.
Yeah.
So why
100%.
would I debate these people if all I can do is just do my normal press conference in these cities and stuff and keep it moving? Why would I do a debate?
Yeah. So that already is just like, really? Okay. It's so far out of the norm that it's starting to look like the SNL writers have come to clock in, for the election or whatever. But you got like Nikki Haley on the Republican side, Ron DeSantis, who I think is the governor of Florida, Vivek Ramaswamy is a burgeoning, Republican new kind of politician, or I always want to call them celebrities. He's a new Republican celebrity, you know what I mean? Like,
that's the right word. That's a good word for it.
I mean, it's the cult of celebrity for politicians. I mean, that's how they get popular. At least in the United States politics, I think it's all about how big your name is, not necessarily what you've done or anything, you can bring to the table, because this guy is a businessman. And if you think about it, I mean, do you really need to have any experience in politics to be anywhere in politics?
No, because
all of these people who are in politics are mostly doctors and lawyers, and they're business people that are in politics now, so it's like they're not, politics is not some special, subject. You can study international politics, or you can study politics and in college and shit like that. But I mean, what do you actually need to know in order to run a government other than organizational management?
Right, and even it's not even that, like, or it's not just that. It's because even all you need is whatever talking point you fall on, and then, for example, if you don't even make the ticket, now you are famous now. So now you can get on a
Yeah.
talk show, you get on a podcast, you can do your
Write a
own
book.
thing, you can write a book, and now that's all it is you just got to get on there, figure out what lane you want to go in, generate some an audience, numbers, whatever, and then now you're going to be set because now you're famous now.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's just how humans work. Like it's like we rely on recognition a lot. So if you see a McDonald's logo or a Burger King logo or any recognizable logo, Apple logo, whatever it is, it's like you recognize that. And it's the same thing with the names. So it's like if you recognize the name of a candidate on the ballot, you might say, "Oh, wait a minute, I know his name.
Right.
Oh, I'll just vote for him. I recognize him." So
Sherry, you want to talk about True Detective?
yeah, so the new True Detective season 4 is coming out tomorrow. We're recording this on a Saturday. So it should be out tomorrow, the 14th of January.
Yeah.
And it's got Jodie Foster. It takes place, I think, in Alaska. And it looks good. It looks really good. I personally, I think the first season of True Detective is the best. And if you don't know, True Detective it's like an anthology series
So
on
yeah,
HBO. It's like a
I've
true
never
crime
watched.
series.
I never watched it. So give me a brief synopsis of what True Detective is.
Okay, so it's basically a series about each season has a different cast. So the first season was Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson. They're both detectives. They work together, and they were trying to find like a serial killer. And it spans I want to say maybe 20 years or something like that. I can't remember
In
exactly,
Louisiana.
but
Oh,
it's
I think
yeah, in Louisiana.
Chad was telling me something about this a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, so it's basically what it is it's a series where you follow a detective or a set of detectives and they try to solve whatever the crime is for that season or crimes, multiple crimes or whatever. And so the newest season is coming out and it has Jodie Foster in it. And it looks like it's like more in the vein of season 1, which was sort of like a dark and mysterious kind of a thing, as opposed to the second and third season. So I'm definitely looking forward to watching this one tomorrow when it comes out because the first and the third seasons are really good. I would definitely recommend everybody to check out True Detective season 1 and season 3 when you get a chance, and then check out this new season.
Okay.
I just want to jump in and say season 3 slightly edges season 1 to me because of the cast. First of all, Carmen Ejogo is fine as all outdoors on season 3. She plays the wife of Mahershala
Yeah,
Ali.
yeah,
Stephen Dorff is also on season 3. The plot, I think the plot is not as good as season 1, but the acting definitely makes up for him. Mahershala Ali does a really, really, really good job. In season 3, it spans like 30 or 40 years, I think, season 3. But the show in and of itself is just really good. It's really enthralling, and they kind of really trap you mentally and wanting to know what's going to happen next. And it's an easy watch too, I think. So very excited for season 4.
They got me thinking of something else. Marvel dropping Jonathan Majors from Kang the Conqueror, and then now there was news that he was supposed to play Dennis Rodman in an upcoming movie, and he get dropped from that.
Well, first, just set the stage. This is on the heels of him being accused of abusing his girlfriend, right?
Not accused, well
yes.
accused, but
He got convicted.
he got convicted.
And was it has he come out and said, okay, this conviction is valid? I mean, there was physical evidence that he like beat her or what? Or
There was some physical evidence. I know he did an interview Monday with Good Morning America or something, but I have not watched that interview.
yeah, the thumbnail was that he
Yeah, I have
teared
not watched
up.
it
I didn't
either.
watch it. Okay.
I haven't watched it either, but he pled not guilty. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, I mean, on the
but
surface of it, in Hollywood, especially now, I would say the last 5 years, those kind of allegations generally lead to very, very bad outcomes for people, especially with convictions, whether there's the physical evidence or not. I mean, pleading not guilty, obviously, he's trying to say that he didn't think that he did anything that would warrant him being convicted of a crime of assault or whatever. It's assault, right? That they charged him with, that he was allegedly that he had allegedly done
Yeah,
to his girlfriend.
basically,
Was
yeah.
it his girlfriend, his wife, or what?
Girlfriend, yeah.
Okay. So if you get convicted of something like that, I mean, the status quo is to cut you from everything. I mean, I thought, right? Like that's what they kind of have to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Otherwise, people are going to boycott your
Um,
shit. You know.
yes, I do tend to agree with that. Um, but
Wait, but I'm
okay,
saying, no, I'm saying
go ahead.
typically yes, but then you do have other situations. You got like Urza Miller stuff to where if they are determined to put this out, regardless of whatever, they can put this stuff out. Now you could face the backlash with it, with and everything like Flash did, but it's really up to the studios if they feel like I get it, but we still gonna do our thing anyway.
You mean use the
Yeah, I
actor,
agree.
Yeah, me as in the studio.
right? So you're saying that if the studio wanted to, they could say, "We know what's going on with Jonathan Majors, but we're going to ride with him. We're going to keep him on board and
Right,
put the movie out anyway."
right.
Why do you think they didn't do that?
Correct me if I'm wrong, Jared. Was the Flash done, finished when that stuff came out, or was it still in production?
Yes and no. So Ezra Miller, he had like a bunch of stuff that happened, not just one or two things.
Mhm.
So some stuff happened before they even shot the Flash, but they just sort of swept that under the rug because that was just like um I think he like attacked the fan or something, like trying to get pictures with him and he pushed a girl or something like that. But they
Mhm.
swept that under the rug because they had the movie coming up. They kind of let that slide. And then after they shot the movie, that's when like the majority of the stuff already happened, started to happen with him breaking into somebody's house and like stealing and getting arrested, getting drunk in a bar and like stuff like that. So it was a bunch of stuff that happened after they already filmed that movie, which was like over $200 million that they put into that movie.
Mhm.
So I get it from the standpoint of like, all right, we already shot this. We can't fire him before we release the movie because it's like what's the like lame duck movie, I guess you would say, because he's.
Right.
So I get why they did it, but at the same time, it's like, come on, man, y'all. He was tripping before they even shot the movie, So it's like you let him slide, and then he just kept going crazy. So I don't know, but I, okay, I have to say this. I'm honestly shocked that he got convicted for this. Like I wasn't in the courtroom, so maybe I missed some stuff, but based on what I saw, the evidence that I saw, I'm shocked
And
because I've
elaborate.
seen the videos. Okay, so this is basically what happened. Supposedly, they were in a cab together or in a driving service car or whatever. Somebody was driving them around. They were in the backseat.
Mhm.
Jonathan Majors got a text on his phone from some other woman. The girlfriend tried to take his phone, and allegedly he snatched the phone from her and hit her in the car, like causing some kind of injury to her head or whatever, right? So that's what is supposedly happened. But the thing is, like, okay, and there was more after that too. So the woman said that uh, I think that was the like extent of her injuries. I could be wrong, but from what I understand, that's what happened. But the driver who was driving them said that Jonathan Majors didn't do that,
Mhm.
and I've seen video evidence of her at the club after this happened. She was normal. partying, whatever. And I've also seen video footage of Jonathan Majors getting out of the cab, running away from her. I'm sure you've seen this video.
I've seen
He's
that one.
running
Yeah.
down like 5 blocks.
Yeah.
She's chasing him. So maybe I'm crazy. Maybe it's some kind of human psychology thing that like I'm not aware of. But if somebody's beating the crap out of me and they're running away from me, I don't think that I would be following them. That's just me personally. Maybe it's some kind of human psychology thing that I'm missing out on. And also,
maybe they
if
do
I
that.
beat the crap out of
Maybe because
if I
do
beat the
this
crap
often.
out of a woman, I definitely wouldn't call the police on myself because that's what happened. He said he went to the apartment and she was there and she was like on the floor and he called the police to try to get her some help. So I don't know. I wasn't there, but me personally, if I were on the jury, I probably would have went not guilty. But that's just me.
Yeah.
I don't know all the information. I just seen that video. But back to when you were saying about them running after, to me, that's not a one-time thing. That seems like they do that often. Because like you said, if this was the first time this happened, why would she chase them? But if you know you get one of those toxic couples who always going at each other type of thing, then that's probably then she's trying to get her look back.
Yeah.
I suppose. But I also saw a video of her outside of like some building in New York. He's walking past. She's trying to grab him to get his attention, and he's just like ignoring her. He kept walking.
Mm.
And also another piece of evidence that I heard from the trial was it was a recording of the girl. She recorded him, and in the recording, like an audio recording, he's talking to her, and he's like, "Listen, you can't be out there getting drunk and going crazy because I got a reputation. You associated with me, stuff like this, and you represent me when you're out there because you're my girl or whatever, and you got
He
to be
wants
better,
it,
and you
and he
can't get
wants
into
her to
the
act
public."
like Coretta Scott King.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He said, yeah,
Coretta
he did
Scott
say that. He said, "I want
King.
you to."
No, he did say
He
that.
literally said that.
He said that.
Oh, it did.
But I
Yeah.
get it. I get the sentiment. Okay, that's probably a interesting example for him to use, but I get the sentiment that he's saying because we see this all the time. Like, I personally do think, like, for example, I have a wife, right? If my wife is being crazy somewhere and people are like, wait a minute, that's Jared's wife? Like, why is she going crazy? That's reflecting on me. So I get what he's saying, and
Of
vice
course.
versa. If I was doing something crazy, that would reflect on my wife. So I get why he would say, chill, don't get drunk in public and be crazy. But
Mhm.
it's played in evidence to like, I guess to display I don't know, he's abusive or something along these lines. But
Controlling.
maybe I'm crazy because I was just like, that make perfect sense in my head. So I don't know. But again, like I said, I wasn't there. I don't know exactly what happened. There's no way that I could say definitively that he didn't do anything. But just based on what I've seen, I was shocked that he was found guilty. And I personally think that if he was found not guilty, he wouldn't have gotten dropped from the Marvel role because they waited until the conviction to officially drop him. So
Right.
I guess
Oh
good
yeah,
job
yeah.
on Disney for at least waiting to see the outcome. I give them props for that because we see all the times, even an allegation alone or an accusation alone could get you fired. So at least I'm glad they waited until the actual conviction before they fired him. So
Right, because they had plans. He's a lot of future plans with him. So yeah. But
yeah,
do
Also,
you
he was the plan. He was
right?
yeah.
real quick, was it New York or California where they convicted him?
It's New York.
Oh, okay.
Speaking of Marvel, their new TV show Echo just dropped a couple days ago. Have you guys had a chance to watch it?
I
I
have
haven't.
not.
Do you guys plan on watching it?
Yeah,
Me
I'll
only
probably check
on,
it out, especially.
I was just gonna say only with a strong recommendation.
Okay. Yeah.
Honestly, I hadn't been on the Marvel train like I used to. I was the number one
Right.
MCU fan prior to shortly after Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
I would say around after Spider-Man. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 kind of got me back in. But other than that, I've just been like, because it's not what it used to be. So, what do you think about the show?
It was okay. Um, Echo, what's her name? Maya, the character named Maya. So one thing I did like about it is there's times throughout the show to where, because she's deaf, and they do like
Right.
they'll take the sound out, like you're hearing it from her perspective, like during the fight scenes and things like that. Um, I appreciate they're doing like a lot of sign language, and I assuming that these are correct sign languages and everything like that. So I'm glad they took the time for this, but it was okay. It was okay. It's only 5 episodes. Uh, to me, with Marvel, it's not. It don't feel not inclusive. It doesn't feel cohesive. There we go.
Cohesive. Yeah.
Yeah. It just feels like it's one thing after another. And I know like they're trying to get to what is that, those young Avenger stuff. But if you look at them on paper, that team gonna get washed. Like it's not. There's nothing. You're not, unless you're a super fan of one of these characters. You're not looking forward to this stuff. And I don't know what they can do to generate the buzz. Maybe it's been so much stuff to where it's getting watered down. I don't know what, but it's just like you said, it's not hidden like it used to.
Yeah, definitely not. And like I was in a little bit of denial at first. I'm not gonna lie, because I was like, no, I got faith in the crew, Kevin Feige, he can bring it back, but like, it's just not the same. Like, listen, we had a good run. Say we, because I consider myself part of the team. That's how big of a fan I was. It was like literally, I've had dreams about seeing Avengers movies when I was little. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So, but now it's to the point where it's just like, it is what it is. We had solid 10, 12 years of greatness. So now it's just sort of in the waning years, in my opinion. So this show, like, I don't know. I'll probably check it out just to say that I checked it out. But even in Hawkeye, I think she was in Hawkeye, right? Even in
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye,
Yeah, Hawkeye.
yeah, I'm pretty sure this character was in Hawkeye.
Yeah.
So even in Hawkeye, I was just kind of like, I don't really care about this character. She's deaf, all right, that's fine. Daredevil's blind, yeah, doing a deaf and blind thing. All right, I know they got to fight to get, against each other or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it's just like, yo, Daredevil it shouldn't even be close. It's Daredevil.
Right.
Like, I haven't seen the fight, but given the fact that it's her show, it's no way on God's green earth that Daredevil shouldn't be mopping the floor with this chick, whoever she is. Me personally, that's just my opinion. It would be like if Batman, I'm not gonna go there. Anyway, I'll probably check the show out just to say, because I don't want to go to tangent, but I'll just say,
No,
the show
let your feelings fly. Let your feelings fly.
No, they're like, people don't understand, like, Daredevil is the top, like, literally top tier wise in the Marvel universe. Like, people can't just get with Daredevil. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's Daredevil.
Put fuel on that fire. So the thing. She was a kid. Fisk basically adopted her and everything else like that, right? So
Right.
Before she got into the basically his crew or whatever, that fight scene you're talking about is her first mission. So was it like years later she was doing this? That was her first mission.
That makes it even worse. This is
Right,
what I'm
that's what I'm
talking
saying.
about. This is what I'm talking about. That pisses me off.
But I'm
That really
saying,
pisses me off.
in defense, she was taking taekwondo classes and stuff. They showed that as a kid and stuff. She was taking those classes.
Yo, you know how nice? Do you know how nice you gotta be blind and still whoop ass?
Right.
You gotta be crazy nice. You gotta be crazy nice. Somebody taking taekwondo shouldn't be able to get with you. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. It reminds me of. Did you ever watch the show Arrow? Arrow, CW.
I watched the first couple seasons. Yeah.
Okay, good. So in Arrow, spoilers for Arrow, I guess if you haven't watched Arrow, but he trained
Go
on the
for it.
island for like 5 years or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
He's literally just training on the island. That's why he can come to the city and whoop ass as a vigilante.
Mm-hmm.
Later in the show's lifetime, random people, like just regular people, no training, no extensive 5 year long training. I mean, you just pop on the eye mask, get a costume, and you are a vigilante now. It's like, no, he could do that because he trained for mad long. That's why he was able to come back and whoop ass. Like, you can't just slap the eye mask on and just whoop ass like he did. So it's like, I don't know, man. That's just one of my little gripes or whatever with superhero stuff. It's like, yo, like he trained mad long. Like, that's why he's able to do this. Like the same thing with Batman. Yes, Batman can whoop ass because he's Batman. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't just throw like some random kid in there and be like, oh yeah, he can whoop ass equally.
Mm-hmm.
You can't whoop ass equally as Batman in a short span of time. It doesn't work like that. You gotta put that work in first. That's just me.
I agree. I get you. All right. Well, we breezing right along. Now it's up to the movie.
Eileen.
You know what I'm about to say?
Yeah.
Prison is no place for a young lady. You got a big life ahead of you, I'm sure.
I'm just kind of average, I think.
May I confide in you? People are so ashamed of their desires. I have my own ideas.
Kind ideas.
You can never tell anyone, do you understand?
Can't imagine you with a knife.
Can you imagine me with a gun?
That's very good, Eileen.
Jordan, if you was trying to describe this movie to somebody, how would you describe this movie?
I would say it's a. So first of all, it's. So there's like a weird relationship between a very young girl, and I think the movie's set in the 50s or the 60s, maybe. There's
The
a
60s.
really young. Okay, there's a really young girl who works at like a boys' institute, a boys' youth home, group home. It's almost like a detention center
It's like a
or like
prison.
Yeah, it's
prison,
a juvenile detention center.
A juvenile detention center, and she kind of, she seems like she's very like socially awkward. She so the way she builds her character in the movie is the prison hires a new psychologist or a therapist at the prison, at the boys prison, and it's a woman, and she's this new age. She went to Harvard. She's from New York, and this movie is set in like Boston, I think, Massachusetts, somewhere in Massachusetts. And the young girl really takes a liking to the older woman, sort of in a semi-sexual kind of way. So she begins to shed her awkwardness in an even more awkward display of acts that she does in the movie. I knew the movie was going to be a little strange when she packed her vagina with snow in the very first scene of the movie.
Not just snow, not fresh snow either, like dirty lake snow.
Dirty, dusty.
At least get it off the top, like
right. She grabbed like there was mud in it too, like
yeah.
So the movie is quite strange as it kind of unfurls this weird relationship between them. And if we're going to spoil it, what later happens is they basically commit this crime together, that kind of is pretty shocking, like when it happens. you don't expect it, and leading up to the actual crime that happens, you kind of expecting them to maybe make love or have some sort of like intimate sexual encounter, and then it turns into this other thing where you're like, wait a minute, what the hell is going on? So I can't really describe it other than to say that it's a very strange way to show a weird and inappropriate relationship between a woman and a very, very young woman.
Okay. Jared, what is your thoughts about this? Or just we can just go negative or positive. What is your feelings and thoughts towards about this movie?
Yeah, so the movie is definitely not like like a normal, like a typical sort of narrative. I guess you could say it's more of like I don't know if I would say it's like a character study. But I guess you could say it is. But yeah, like George said, I knew that it was like gonna be a little offbeat once that opening scene happened. But I was, I'm down for upbeat, so I was into it. Never not like watching Anne Hathaway and something. You know what I'm saying? So I was down, and I thought that they did a pretty good job of like making it a time period piece. Like I didn't think I didn't feel like I was watching something that was made today, but they just transported it back then. Other than I know what Anne Hathaway looks like and the other actors, but I thought like the job they did, like putting it in the '60s was good. Even like the dialogue, I felt like it was time period appropriate, so that was good. But as far as like the story, once they get to the crime part towards the end, spoilers. Once they get to that, I was like, whoa, wait, what? And then I kind of thought back on the rest of the movie because we see Eileen, and she goes into these sort of like fantasy moments where she kind of imagines something multiple times during the movie. So it kind of like once that happened, I kind of like rethought the rest of the movie, and I was thinking like maybe certain moments that happened earlier, she was just imagining those. Like certain moments with Anne Hathaway's character, I was like, damn, did that actually happen, or is this like an unreliable narrator type of thing? Did she just imagine those things happening? Because once they go into like the I have her tied up in the basement thing, I was like, oh shit, wait, what? Anne Hathaway doesn't is maybe Eileen imagined the kiss and the flirtiness and the leg touch, or maybe she just missed, she's interpreting it totally differently than it's actually going down, because we see her do this a bunch of times throughout the movie. So once that happened, I thought that was good. I thought the twist was good, but I felt like the ending was just a little off to me. Like it felt like it was like, I don't know, like they reshot it, or like something didn't pan out right and the editor room had to like cut it, or I kind of felt like that was like when the movie was starting, and then it just ends shortly after that. But I thought all of that was good. Abrupt. And yeah, very abrupt ending. But I kind of like movies like this where it's just sort of like sort of offbeat, and like you it's like you're kind of guessing like, wait, what's the deal with this lady, or like are they about to kiss each other right now, like what's going on? And so overall I thought it was good. I thought the performances were good, but I wasn't like blown out of my seat or anything like that. But I don't know, I think it's solid. Like I'm not going crazy over it.
I felt at the beginning, I felt like Anne's acting was way above everybody else.
You didn't like Eileen?
No, I'm saying like they were good. She's just better. To where like as I'm watching this, it's like Anne Hathaway pulls you into she is this character, and I just felt like everybody else is doing they're doing good. She's just doing phenomenal at this.
I agree.
Yeah, yeah, it's just like as she was doing everything, because when she and it's probably her character too, but when she's on screen, you paying attention to her.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like you said, like the story's going one way, and then when they start talking about the kidnapping and everything, you're like, oh shit, what's going on? And then like my out loud moment was when she shot her. I was like, what the fuck fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
I was like, she said what you wanted her to say. Why would you shoot her?
And she was
Yeah.
like, I got upset.
Right. So nonchalant.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was like, I got upset.
Yeah.
Yeah. The dad to me did a just as good a job
He was
as
great.
Anne Hathaway.
Yeah.
The
He was
father
really great.
was the quintessential deadbeat, like alcoholic,
Yeah.
fucking, just he played that role to a T.
Mhm.
And it really
Yeah.
it really impressed on me the person that Eileen was is in a lot of senses because of him, strictly because of him. Like
Right.
he really messes her mind up, to the
Yeah.
point that she fantasized about murdering him, a couple times in the movie. And then ultimately at the end of the movie, she was willing to basically frame him for a murder,
Yeah.
or shooting. With zero remorse about it, also, and the way she justified it was, well, the doctor said he's gonna die,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
whatever, we could just go away together. So I did like the movie. It does end kind of like quicker than I expected. You're right, Jared. I think it does kind of beg the question, like, did something happen towards the end of production where they couldn't finish it correctly, or maybe they reshot some stuff and changed the story at the end, or what? But
Okay. Now that you say that, I was going to say this for the trivia, but this is based on a 2015 book.
Yeah.
Otessa Moshfegh, but I was reading the plot of the book, and the movie pretty much covers most of the stuff, like plot line wise, for the movie until the very end. In the very end, so at the end of the movie, she hitchhikes, right?
mhm.
Yeah.
So in the book, same scenario, but the only thing is she makes it to New York where she tells people her name is Lena. She changes her last name after getting married a few months later, and she alludes to multiple marriages and love affairs and lives a much happier, more confident life than her younger self. That's how it ends in the book. So
Mhm.
maybe that would have, with that part added on there, you could have got a closure of her
Right.
going on with her life.
Character arc and stuff. But
Yeah.
the reason why I didn't really like the end is because that compared to the book is much different, because the way the movie ends is, when she leaves her car in the woods, I mean, that car traces back to somebody.
Yeah.
I don't care if
Her,
it's
Right.
1950 or 1920 or what. Somebody's going to know that car belongs to either her or her father, or likely her father. But, if her father's there and there's a body in the vehicle, I mean, you have no idea what happens to Anne Hathaway. She just drives around away smiling, as if her life is completely different. And it's clearly not, necessarily going to
Yeah.
be a happy ending, because how do you go anywhere without this coming back to you? You know
well,
what I mean? I mean,
Yeah.
well, I mean, like with Anne's character, I figure she can disappear into a new life. But like you said, all that stuff trace back, and also like when her job, when she don't show up, because it's a connection. The boy who works at the prison, or works, the boy who's at the prison,
Yeah.
his mother is unconscious, and one of the people who works there is not there, and like it will 100% go back to her.
certainly, yeah. So
Yeah.
it kind of
Absolutely.
leaves you like, how does this story really end? It's just kind of a cliffhanger, I guess. And it leaves
It's like really,
a bit of a
really
bad
open ended.
taste. Yeah, yeah,
Yes, it's so open ended that it just doesn't feel any. It doesn't feel like there's any closure to me,
yeah.
anyway. But I also read. I did know that this was based on a book, and I saw some people saying that like in the book, Eileen is like really dirty, like really dirty. Like she doesn't shower, and like
Oh,
she
really?
stinks, and yeah, and like she keeps like a dead rat in her. So there's a scene where the dad is like, "What's that smell?" or whatever. Like I think that's
Mhm.
probably from the book. because she's so gross or whatever. So like
Oh,
even to me, even like leaving something like that in the book would like kind of give her more character, not good character, but like just traits. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, this girl is kind of gross, and I feel like that would have So based on what I'm thinking in my head, which I don't know if it's right, but it would play more into like maybe she is making this shit up that Anne Hathaway is doing. Like, or she maybe not making it up, but like she's interpreting it totally differently because you're like a gross chick that stinks and you have a dead rat in your car. You know what I'm saying? And she just
yeah.
so I don't know. But like I read a few other things that like happened in the book. Like for example, and these were just comments on like one of the videos I was watching. But somebody said there's a scene where she finds her dad and he's like or not unconscious, but he hurt himself, like he fell or something. He had blood on his face. She takes him to the hospital, and like on the way to the hospital, he's like grabbing her leg and he's saying like Jolene or something. He thinks she's somebody else.
Mhm.
And one of the comments said that Jolene was the sister and not the mom. So
Okay.
he's thinking that her sister is driving and he's touching the sister in an inappropriate way. And so they were saying like that plays into her anger at the mom at the end when she's talking about her husband and the son because her
Oh, she
dad
can
and
relate
sister
to it.
had
Right,
a
right.
thing. Right. So that, flipped her out and forced her to shoot or caused her to shoot. And that like, and she could relate to it. So she shot her because the
Right.
dad and her sister.
Okay. Right. So
So,
it wasn't just I was upset type of thing. It's going from past trauma and yeah.
right. Based on the book. Yes. So, like to
Okay.
me, those things are important.
Right.
Like that would make a lot more sense than she upset me. Like it kind of you could kind of get away with it in the movie just saying she upset me because it's something upsetting to hear the wife describe these things. But if you put the emotional backing of hey, my dad and my sister has some kind of weird thing going on, that makes it better. Not better, but
Yeah.
it makes it more impactful to the
Hmm.
character. So stuff like that, I feel like when you translate from book to movie, like you kind of gotta translate the big stuff, character wise, or it doesn't work as good.
Yeah.
So
It doesn't make complete
I don't know.
sense. Yeah.
If I had to guess too, I
Right.
would say that the book probably would have the book probably if they had followed the book closer to a T, it would be the movie would have been over the top, and they probably would have done better to go over the top with you know her character and everything that happened, and what you said about it being unclear whether some of these things are fantasies or well, I take that back. A lot of the fantasies in the movie, they always show you that it is a fantasy.
Hmm.
So
This is true.
it's almost as if maybe you could make a case that the whole basement scene is sort of a fantastical, thing that she's got going on in her head. And her getting away is her leaving without having done any of that stuff, and she's just leaving her dad. But I don't know. Maybe I probably would have liked it a little bit more if they went further with what they did, because then it would have just fit the movie better.
Well, just to clarify, when I say she was imagining these things, I'm strictly talking about like the kiss from Anne Hathaway. Like even I think the leg touch happened, but it was like just a coworker, like I'm touching your leg thing, not like a oh my god she likes me thing. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So I'm not saying like the basement thing was fiction, was fantasy. I'm talking strictly about like the possible sexual feelings from Anne Hathaway to her is what I'm saying. So like
I
I
got
think
you.
that in her mind she wants that to happen. So she's interpreting it as in being in a sexual way, but it's not really like that. She just that's what she wants. So that's kind of what she's picturing in her head, and she's interpreting it a certain way. That's all I was saying.
Yeah, yeah.
So would you guys recommend this movie to people?
Uh, yeah.
I
I mean, I would.
Okay. All right.
I think it would depend on the person. It would depend on the person who I'm talking to. Certain people definitely wouldn't be into this,
Mhm.
but other people I would recommend it. So it just kind of depends.
All right. What do you think the Rotten Tomatoes is on this movie?
Critic score, I
Uh,
would say maybe 60%.
I'll go 65. Critic.
Don't go below 80.
It's above 80.
90.
85 tomato meter.
That's I don't know. That's
All
too
right,
high.
now
I'm sorry.
let's
Too
do the
high.
audience score. So what do you think the audience score is? If the critic score is 85%, what do you think the audience score is?
I'm gonna say the audience is 60, maybe
I'm gonna
even
say
40.
65 audience.
53.
Yeah, okay.
Makes
Uh,
sense. I literally just said this earlier. I said if it's artsy, the critic will be higher.
yep.
I said that.
I don't have. There was not a lot of
Okay.
trivia for this. The only trivia I had was for the book. So I don't have anything. Thank you guys for being on. I appreciate it. Anything that you want to plug on the way out?
No,
Yeah, you
just
can follow me. Go ahead.
I was just
We
gonna
got a little
say,
delay.
just love your families. Kick off the new year with a bang.
Yeah, and you can follow me on Instagram at Jared JARED __ France, like the country.
All right. Thank you so much for listening. Please rate, like, and review, and subscribe to our podcast on your platform of choice. If you have any feedback, please email us at weusetalkpod@gmail.com. Follow us on YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. Yes, it's a thing. We don't use it, but we have one at We Used to Talk Pod. Follow Chad on Letterboxd at BOW1213 and me at Mr. King 0257. Join us next week as I have no idea what we're doing next week. So just subscribe. You know, it's going to be some good stuff. We'll figure it out. Like always, I don't know if this was a good episode. I don't know if it was a bad episode, but whatever you think about it, talk about it at work. Thank you for listening.